Warning, the following video will contain spoilers for the episode Flash Out of Time. So spoiler alert, if you do not wish to have anything ruined for you, please stop watching now. Hey guys, it's Dave, and today is the, Wednesday, March 18th, 2015. March 18th, yeah, that's what I said. And last night's episode of Flash premiered, and you'll have to excuse me if I'm not up to my usual self, where I am happy and excited. I mean, last night's episode was good, but I don't know, I'm just not really feeling like I would normally feel. See, before I get started, a couple of days ago I found a new Flash group on Facebook, and I thought it'd be funny to post my Flash Fact Funk video there, and all I seemed to get, except for one voice in the crowd, were a bunch of people just pretty much slamming and attacking me for it. So, and this was also on the anniversary of my father's passing too, so thank you for that. I don't know. Part of the reason I'm feeling a little down is, last night's Out of Time was very good. I mean, we had some cool interactions. We're starting to see some friction between Eddie and Iris because of how they're interacting with one another. Even Linda's picking up on how Barry seems to be more around Iris. Hints start getting dropped by Iris's reporter colleague. I can't call him a friend, but the guy that's pretty much saying that Wells has been around some shady stuff, including that he went to go see Simon Stagg before he disappeared. So no one really knows what's going on there. And this also gets back to Cisco and starts raising questions about whether or not Dr. Wells had anything to do with Barry's mom's death. And of course Joe's got other things to worry about right now with the brother of the guy who played the first Weather Wizard in the pilot. He's dead, but now the brother's back. So that's becoming a very interesting story there. And everything starts to build up to where the guy starts to, seek revenge. Cisco not only is investigating more about Dr. Wells on the night that the Reverse Flash, or Man in the Yellow Suit, was captured in the force field, but also creates a large device to essentially absorb the extra electrons out of the air, which I swear it looks for the life of me like a giant 11th Doctor sonic screwdriver fully extended. So that's a cute little thing. And we'll get to see that in action later, but also Cisco is trying to investigate things. Caitlin's trying to keep Dr. Wells busy while Cisco's investigating, and finds that the force field is actually fully operational, but also had things built into it that look like it was fluctuating. And then that's when we start getting a playback of the Reverse Flash, including dialogue. Meanwhile, in the coffee shop, Wells is being kept busy by Caitlin, but he starts to figure that out. Caitlin goes to get some coffee to go, and he disappears out of his wheelchair. Now, major spoiler alert here. Joe's been captured and injured badly by Weather Wizard and setting a trap for Iris that only she and Barry can come to try to get to him. Now, when they said in the ads that the last 5 minutes of the show is going to be some of the biggest and you might scream or your jaw's going to drop, they weren't freaking kidding. This was huge. So, what happens is, as Cisco starts to figure things out, here comes Dr. Wells and starts to talk about things about who he really is, and he drops his name, Eobard Thawne. Okay, so the cat's finally out of the bag. He admits who he really is, despite all my videos and protests to otherwise. It's finally happened. I mean, okay, I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think the big thing was that Tom Cavanaugh was doing such a thing of being a friend and a mentor that him just flat out being Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash, would have been too obvious and too predictable. But it looks like that's what they went with, so that's good. So eventually what happens there is that he shows an after image effect where he's actually going back and forth, and so there's two of them. It's funny because also earlier in the episode, Barry was running, and he ends up seeing an after image where another Flash while he was on the way to an emergency. He stops and, he's getting his bearings, and then he takes off again. Not really sure what the hell to make of it, but he does tell Wells about this earlier in the episode. Well, anyway, back to Wells in the current time. He admits to Sisko who he is, and all he's trying to do is get home. He starts to vibrate his hand at high speed, and Sisko, it's a heartbreaking scene, man. He's saying that, you made me feel like I had a son here, and then he just shoves his freaking vibrating hand into his chest, stops his heart, and says, to me, you've already been dead for centuries. And so Sisko's dead, and Wells is taken off. Meanwhile, a tsunami is being sent toward the freaking coast. Barry and Iris are there on the coast. Barry's saying, I didn't want you to find out like this. And he suits up in front, tells Iris to get going, and he's talking to Caitlin about how to try to stop a tsunami from hitting Central City. The only way to do so is to create a wall of wind to essentially go back and forth in front of it to stop it. How fast? Caitlin's not sure. He says, I don't think you can go that fast. So he tries anyway. And he starts going back and forth, super speed, and next thing you know, he kind of disappears into a portal, and he sees himself in his earlier thing, where he essentially became his previous side of himself in the future. So when he stops, he appears back at the same place in the past, about 18 hours prior to all hell breaking loose before Sisko's dead, before Wells reveals himself as Eobard Thawne, before everything else has gone to hell. And in a Quantum Leap-esque moment, Barry looks around and says, oh boy. So, Barry learned how to time jump, folks. Before all hell broke loose, he actually just flashed back, literally, about, I would estimate 18 hours or so, maybe more. But, yeah, so he figured out how to do a time jump. That's where the next episode's going to start kicking in, and where the rogues are probably going to start coming back, and things are going to start changing around a little bit. But, so yeah, I mean, it was a damn good episode, and it's interesting that they've introduced the element of time travel hops here. And it looks like this is the beginning of Barry trying to build confidence with doing time hops and trying to change the past. However, every time he does, something else would occur. So, I think we're starting to get into the whole thing that time is in fact mutable and changeable. So it's not just something that they're waiting for the season finale. They're building onto it right now. So, with Barry going back in the past, that means Sisko's still alive. Wells hasn't revealed himself of who he is just yet. But Joe hasn't gotten screwed up, and the tsunami hasn't come yet. So, past, anyway, it's just kind of funny. In the same episode where Sisko makes something that looks like the 11th Doctor's sonic screwdriver, it's the same episode we're finding out that time can be rewritten. So, cute little nod there, tip of the hat. So, big ups on there. So, what's going to happen? Well, they're definitely making it that they've been keeping it interesting, and they're changing things up. And of course, Grant Gustin's been putting out that no one's really guessed what the heck's going on with the whole Dr. Wells reverse flash thing, so there may be some surprises. But to be quite honest, given my reactions that I've had, I know with past videos about thinking that Wells may actually be a future Barry, and trying to defend that just because I found him more likable than I ever did Eobard Thawne, and that my reaction with my Flash Fact Funk video and a Flash Facebook group. To be honest, guys, I do this out of fun, to enjoy myself, and there's a lot of things going on right now that I'm not necessarily wanting to get into, but my life is a hell of a lot less than great right now, and this was one of the few distractions I was giving myself to actually enjoy things, to, have fun. And it's important, and I'm trying really hard, but I got verbally defecated on because of a video I did on the anniversary of my dad's passing, and people are just going to come and try to give me all kind of hell because of my stance on who I thought Wells is and was. Quite frankly, this might be my last video for a while, because this is starting to become not fun anymore. And if this is going to be nothing but misery, I don't need any more of that. So, I'd like to do it and enjoy myself, and hopefully there's enough people out there that do want to hear from me and want to keep in touch. Who knows? I might make another video soon. But the way I'm feeling right now, I doubt it. So I guess this will be the last time I see any of you guys for a while. So hopefully I'll get back to feeling good again and being able to enjoy things again without being verbally harassed and defecated on. So we'll see what happens. Normally I'd say peace and yum yum, but that doesn't really seem to be a point. Goodbye.